Hi, Janice.
Hello, you are completely in the dark.
Oh, thank you.
You're a silhouette, or you were. You're a little bit more visible now, but you're still pretty much in the dark.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
There, that's a bit better.
That's better? Okay.
Better. You're still kind of in the dark, but I can see.
I'm in a like a shadowy spot. Oh, there, that's better.
Yes.
Thank you. Good feedback.
Okay.
Because you can see yourself, but you don't really know how others can see you.
Yeah.
So
I met a group of women, church ladies, who Zoom on Thursdays instead of going out to lunch like we used to do every other week. And there's one woman, and we're always just seeing either the top of her head or her chin. She's got her phone. She's doing it on her phone, and she can't see herself.
Yeah, it's much more challenging to do it on your phone.
I haven't tried. So.
Well, it seems like when you see someone who's using their phone, you get this like narrow image of them. Oh, here's Joanne. Oops. Admit Joanne.
The web camera that Patrick got, and I feel like I'm a tiny little head. I need to move it closer to me, but then I don't have any room on my desk.
So good though. I like how you look. Oh, and
okay.
Susan, here comes Susan Millinger.
Okay, there we go. I'm gonna put this on gallery or something.
Just fix my name.
Oh yeah, I want to fix my name too. I don't know how to.
Just click in your upper right hand corner.
Oh, rename, yeah. A lot of people are taking out the final pronoun for some reason on these things. I did it for church. And now it seems to be more like that.
You're muted there, Joanne.
Is that
there
better?
You go. Yes.
Where's my video?
We can hear you, Susan. There you are.
Yep, sorry about that. I didn't know it was off.
This one is off by default, I think. Some of the Zoom sessions, they automatically give you.
They automatically go on.
Yeah, you have to turn yourself on in these.
Well, we sure have been sent a lot of documents lately.
You've been busy. Yes, I had a major find this afternoon.
I guess so.
It took me quite a while to remember to bring my folder home from town hall. I wasn't there for a long time, and then I finally remembered to bring it home, and then I started to look through it the other day, and then today I thought, I think I'll go through it a little further. And pre-COVID.
There she was.
There it was, pre-COVID. So.
Whoa.
It looks like, I only had a moment to glance at it, but it looks like a very strange way of assessing things.
Yeah. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it. I just thought,
there it is. Yeah.
Let's scan this and get it out of my possession.
Yeah, we'll have to study it to see how to categorize things. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Joanne, did you find my statistics?
I just did, and I haven't put them in yet, but I will.
Okay, no hurry.
But
I just wanted to make sure you got them.
I did.
They showed up in strange places.
Yeah.
Well, not strange, but just low down the list.
Did anyone? I haven't heard from
Susan Gomber.
Sue Gomberg, whether she's coming. I've had some communication with her recently, but I didn't hear anything about today. And I'm just noticing that it's 5:31. And do you want to wait a couple minutes, or do you want to
Well, we were a quorum, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And then there's our guest Avery.
Yep, but not yet.
Leeway.
Nice.
Schleeweiss.
Yeah,
Did you give her a particular time to come, Joanne?
it was the link and the
Yeah, just-
information. No, I gave her the meeting.
Just to come as a guest, you know.
Oh,
okay.
And,
Yeah.
but not yet. So what we can go ahead and start, and I'll let you know if I see, you know, if she comes.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have to go get a clock or can somebody tell me the time?
5:32.
Thank you.
Not on the bottom of your computer screen?
Not when I'm in Zoom.
Oh, okay.
I
I
have
can,
to go out of Zoom to get
Oh,
time.
oh, I can just
Very
do,
annoying. And both the clocks in this room have died. So,
Okay. So 5:32, we call the meeting to order. And the first order of business is are the minutes. Which
Yeah.
Susan sent an amended set of minutes. Yes.
yes, someone is calling in. I can't see who it is, but someone is calling in.
we're also supposed to
might be Susan.
give attendance by calling the roll too. We haven't done that yet.
Yes. Okay, Linda Avis Scott present.
Janice Gray, member present.
Joanne Bernhardt present.
Susan Millinger, secretary, present.
Susan Gomberg, present.
Is that you, Susan? Sue Gomberg?
Yes, it
Yay,
is.
excellent. Excellent. If you can just speak louder.
Gomberg, present.
Boy.
Can't hear.
Okay. All right, so do we hear a motion for the minutes?
Wait a minute. Just
Oh.
is Sue trying to get video and audio up or
No,
calling
She's on the phone.
on the phone? Okay.
Just as a little note, I thought, this is Millinger, I thought she wanted to be called Susan also.
That's what I just called myself.
What did she say?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
He said
Susan.
that's what I just called myself.
Okay,
Susan,
Susan. Okay.
yes, okay, good, thank you.
Are we ready?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. So are there any comments or additions or about the amended minutes that Susan Millinger sent to us?
No, did we have a motion?
No.
Hadn't got there yet.
Is the motion to accept the minutes as
Move to-
presented?
I'll do it. I move to approve the minutes, the 7/8/20 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
So we need a roll call vote. Linda Avis Scott, aye.
Janice Gray, aye.
Joanne Bernhardt, aye.
Susan Millinger, aye. Well, she's got a yellow border. She had one.
Susan Gomberg, aye.
Yes, we heard you.
Yay.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay. So the next item we had was introductions, but we don't have any guests.
So then it's updates to Foot Clinic and MedRide.
Yep. So I do have an update from Foot Care by Nurses. I emailed Vanessa, who is my contact person in the office, yesterday, and she said that they are continuing the $60 reduced fee for current participants' home visits through September 30th. So that being said, now we can decide if we would like to subsidize, continue our subsidy of $30 through the end of September.
Sue Gomberg, how many people have been taking advantage of this?
I actually don't find that out. But I don't know if they follow up. Coincidentally, talking with Sue Miller, there are 6 people scheduled for the 19th of August, but beyond that, I don't know.
How many are scheduled for August, the August date?
She scheduled 6 people for the 19th.
Are those in-home visits?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Whoa.
Wow, that's great. There was only
Yes.
one. There was only one in July.
Mhm.
Just one.
Well, I can call folks and let them know the option goes through till the end of September, and maybe that'll catch a few more people.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, so there it is. So what do you think about continuing the subsidy?
Susan, how many total clients do we have in the system?
There are 17. Some have never taken advantage of any offer based on how they respond when I talk to them, but there are 17 that were active in the clinic in the prior few months.
Thank you.
I was actually thinking about going into Greenfield.
Mhm.
I can relate one participant's experience with her just coincidentally recently. She got a different nurse, and I could from her conversation she did not particularly like that nurse's treatment of whatever her issue was. She said, you know, well, Sue was always doing this, and this nurse had her own idea of what was good. The clinic member wasn't too happy with it.
Susan, you know what? We can't really hear you clearly. I mean, we can hear you, but it's muffled, so we can't catch everything. And we really want to hear what you have to tell us.
Hey,
Try again.
hey,
No.
any better?
You break up.
It's probably the phone. I'll have to bring my daughter's neck to tell her to put my computer off. Take care of my
Do you have are you using a landline or a mobile?
mobile.
Do you have a landline?
I can try that. I tried it once. I will try landline.
I was thinking if you have a landline, maybe you should try dialing through the landline.
And this is Janice. There's also some strange kind of music playing somewhere, and I think it might be on your end. Maybe it's the phone line or the cell phone
I
signal.
think that might be my husband downstairs playing the piano.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Um,
Well, in regards to the continuing the subsidies for the foot clinic, I would be in favor of that, since it's really the only activity that we are able to pursue at this point.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Good point.
Janice agrees and adds that it might help us to get a grant from the state again if we show we're doing something.
yep, hang on. Susan's coming back and with a new number.
Ah,
It's a Shutesbury number.
yeah, the Shutesbury landline number. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it does sound promising. Sounds like it wasn't good experience.
Are you there, Susan Gomberg?
I don't know. Am I?
Yes.
Yes.
Very clear.
We can hear you.
So the landline is the thing. I tried the landline one week and it went nowhere. But yes, I'm on the landline and I'm glad it's better.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Much
Thank you.
better.
Yeah.
Now, would you be willing to tell us what you were telling us before?
Something about Greenfield and somebody in a van, or I couldn't hear it.
It was when I called people recently because one of the participants called me 2 weeks ago or so to tell me that they had called to make an appointment and were given an appointment in September, and that the person on the phone did not know about the cost being less. So he called me. I got a hold of Sue Miller, and she straightened everything out. Any participant that did call and get routed to September, and there were 2 others, are now in the group of 6 people that have an appointment with Sue on the 19th. She kind of, wrestled everyone together with her schedule for the 19th. We needed one more person. I did speak with one more person who had just gone to the Greenfield office and saw a different nurse, not Sue, and her comment was, Sue always, I forget, the nurse had a different idea of how to take care of this person's feet. And I could tell from her tone she didn't like the experience, something like, I guess she knew what she was doing, or something like that. So she did not have a good experience going into the Greenfield office.
That's what you were trying to say. This is Janice.
Yeah.
Right, just to tell Susan about that.
Yep, I appreciate that. Could just be, a person who wants things done one way, and nurses do things different ways.
Right, definitely, but I just wanted to get that in there.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But aside from that, everyone that I've talked with is most appreciative of the money. Very, very grateful for the extra money. Always wondering when the clinic is going to open again. I had heard from Sue Miller that both Wendell and New Salem were opening their clinics as usual, but it has turned out that New Salem is not going to resume their clinic. I guess Wendell maybe has already done that. I don't know.
Yeah, I can say that there are no plans to reopen town hall, and currently the senior lounge is very different. It's filled, there's boxes of trash bags and recycling bins. It's somewhat reverted to what it was some years ago. And also it's being used as the expanded town clerk office for all the election um, mail-in ballot processing, because obviously there's not enough room in that tiny office. So Susie's working down there. So anyway, I mean, there's nothing happening in the big room, but right now there's no plans to open at this point. So that's what I know. So what do we think about our $30 subsidy through September? Do you have a motion? Any
I move that we continue this $30 subsidy for the foot clinic. Is it through September? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, September 30. Yeah.
September 30th.
Second. This is Joanne, I second.
Any further discussion? No. So we vote. Janice, you want to start off?
Okay, Janice Gray, aye.
Susan Millinger, aye.
Joanne Bernhardt, aye.
Susan Gomberg, aye.
And Linda Ava Scott, aye. Okay, and there is no news, no MedRide. There have been no requests for the MedRide program, which, as we know, will not be resumed anytime in in the near future.
Does anyone know if Village Neighbors are giving rides?
No.
They're not either.
They are not. No.
Mhm.
No.
What about the ride that comes out of Franklin, the Franklin County ride? Is that in operation?
You mean there are some services through FRTA?
Yeah.
But I don't know details about that. We did have one inquiry and I referred the person to LifePath.
Because remember, LifePath sent us, I think last year, the information on the program, which
Right.
was a pretty good deal.
Right. But again, if anyone calls, that's where I would refer them to LifePath, who would have their, have the pulse on what is possible.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So that's what I know on that.
Okay, this is Joanne. I don't have the agenda in front of me, so
Oh,
Linda.
Next is FY20 statistics and the FY21 worksheet.
Okay. This is Joanne. Thank you all for getting your figures into me. I have everyone from this committee now, but I haven't heard from Sally Fairfield about the newsletter. And I'll try to follow up with that.
You do know Sally's leaving town for a week on the 16th?
No. Are you in touch with her?
Yeah, off and on. So she's not always really good about responding to emails or phone calls. Do you want me to try?
Please.
Okay.
It's just two questions. One is, how much time did she spend on the newsletter? And the second question would be, is she still willing to do that? Those are my questions. Does anyone else have questions?
No, but I just wonder, I mean, we don't have a capacity to do a newsletter at this point.
Mhm.
So it would be somewhere down the road.
Yeah, sometime in the future.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that Sally understands that that question is not about anything presently.
Okay, this is Susan Millinger. I'll contact Sally, or I'll attempt to do so.
Thank you.
And this is Janice Gray, thanking Susan Millinger for her email to Joanne, noting her hours, because I completely forgot about the anti-discrimination workshop.
Okay.
That was last, I think, November. I went to that too, and I sent you an email to that effect if you want to throw that in.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, but I did it for my job, so.
Yeah, and there was also, I had to do the conflict of interest training, but that, I wear different hats.
Yeah.
So it was newsletter and council on aging. So I don't know if you want to bother with that.
And I've got library, substitute, so I might have done it for that too, but I think it was for COA.
Okay,
Okay, I will look through everything again, put in all the new information and send out what I have as my final tally, and you can check it out, okay? And if everything is okay, shall we attach it to the minutes of this meeting? Or should we hold it until we do the grant application?
yeah, let's hold it and you'll
Okay.
send it around, so then if we have any adjustments or something, so it's not like, it's not ready yet actually to go with these minutes, because we can't approve it,
Okay,
because, we have more to put in. Yeah.
okay.
Joanne, I didn't open up the email that you sent in answer to my question about how many newsletter foldings we had.
I did.
How many did we have?
We had one.
We had 2.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. The summer newsletter last summer went out in June of 2019.
Oh,
For COA?
Yes, I went and looked. The folding party was June 17th.
Wait a minute,
Now, maybe it got moved and I don't remember.
hold on.
I was not in.
Gail gave me the breakdowns, and we had some sort of mailing in December of 2019.
Oh, it's not on our website.
And then again in, let's see, the second one was in March.
That was the one I worked on, and that was the only one I knew about in fiscal year 20.
Right, but we
So
did.
there was another one?
Had some sort of mailing in December, and I can't tell you what it was at the moment. We must have folded near the end of November, because it went out on the 3rd or very beginning of December, because it went out on the 3rd of December.
So you need to look through the minutes and see what that was.
I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I need to look through my calendar, because I'm not sure, personal calendar. I'm not sure I made both of those events. I
Well,
think
There
it
was
might
a
have
folding.
been.
the one in March, was, we did it right after Andy's service.
But there were a few people
Oh,
who were doing it
okay.
before the service and
Yeah.
even during, and not everybody was council on aging. Becca Wheeler was there, for example.
Right, right.
We always have, we tend to have other people who
Yeah,
help
we
with
do, yeah,
But it's volunteer hours. It's not council on aging
right.
hours. It's volunteer hours for that
Well, you
one.
know what we did? I think we sent out, did we send out a survey in December?
No,
Mhm.
Hmm. Well, I stand corrected then.
When
Here we go. This one I don't think is on our website. I should make sure it is. I don't think I have a PDF.
November 20th at 5:30.
The fall
And it-
2019.
yeah,
It was a newsletter.
look, I found it.
Yeah.
Good.
You can't read it, it's backwards, isn't it?
I'm looking at the
Sorry.
minutes.
Yeah, it says winter 2020, home care services
No.
from Life Pack.
That was the one in February after Andy's death.
Oh, that was winter, right.
The
Okay,
fall
wait.
2019 had the census in it. The US Census is coming by Susie.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
right.
Okay.
when was the one with David Dan on the front page?
That was back in
Earlier.
in June of 2019.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the one I was thinking we were
Yeah.
talking about originally.
Yeah,
So what do we estimate for time for that?
I think I already gave Joanne some, I gave Joanne.
So
an
Joanne will just put that for everybody?
So 6 hours, I'm sorry, 6 people, Linda,
Yeah.
were folding?
Yeah. That was the estimate. That was about the average number of people for an hour and a half, I think I said.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I don't include my time going to the post office because that's part of my job, that part, doing the bulk mailing. So that time isn't included, just the folding time for me. So now we have these new forms from Janice.
This is Janice. So when I had a little email conversation with Joanne in which she said something about getting the categories from Becky that were used in the grant, which is why when you sent out the grant paperwork, I thought that was going to be in there, but I didn't see ours. Do you remember what we were talking about, Joanne?
I don't, and I need to study the grant application pages to see how they organize the information, that they want. This was a shot in the dark of just putting down all the categories I could
Right.
think of and what, and collecting people's time on that. And it was done without seeing the grant application. So tomorrow I'll go over the grant application and see, what the categories are. And Janice, if you can do the same, and we can adjust our volunteer time logs accordingly.
Oh, okay, I see. So they aren't looking for hours from us, they're looking for categories.
Well, no, they are looking for hours.
Because there was nothing about that in the grant application that I saw, because I looked at it when it was sent out for that purpose.
But in the minutes that we had, that was a meeting I missed. It said that we needed to have volunteer hours.
Yeah, it's on the first.
Oh, page 1, staff support.
Paid staff and volunteers. And it basically, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't break them down by task for that.
No.
It's like, just in general, what do volunteers do? 20 hours a week or more, we have none. 5 hours a week to 19.5, one person does that, so forth. That's maybe, I don't know if that's Susan taking the minutes or what, but it doesn't, I don't think you're going to find much helpful there, Joanne.
Okay.
No.
Well, maybe what we're doing is overkill.
I think so.
Yeah, because a lot of us would be 10 hours a year to 50 hours a year, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good exercise now that we've collected for fiscal 19.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, for fiscal 20, and we can see how many hours people spend and average it per week or so.
Yeah, it'll be much more accurate in terms of what it takes to do what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Janice, I just had a question on the sheet. Your sheet and my sheet had, I think, the same categories.
Some of them.
But you had, I think, 7 different squares. Was that supposed to be per week or?
Whatever you want. This is what I wanted us to talk about. Maybe take some time to look at it privately. For example, just preparing this chart. I did a little bit on this day and another one on that day. You might do something 7 times over the course of a month. You might do it once.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just an arbitrary number of columns, trying to make them not so small that you couldn't write in them. It can be as many or few as you want. You could say starting time, ending time, instead of just time. Depends on how you want to do it and what you're doing. So it can be smaller. It can be fewer categories.
For me personally, I would need a column with all the different categories per month. I don't think I would need more than 1 column a month. I mean, you've given us so much
I was originally
time.
This is Janice again, sorry. I originally was planning to have 2 months per page. And then I started working with this chart, and then I thought, well, maybe that's not enough room. So I could make it August and September, just cut it in half this way. It'd be easy enough to do. Divide and make it an even number of columns instead of an odd number of columns. So, I can play with it.
Well, this is Millinger. That would meet my need, I think, quite adequately. I don't know, some of the rest of you might want to be able to put a number of different days or different times a day.
I think I'll be doing good if I can just, get, keep track of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back and let's look at the grant worksheet and get a better sense of what we need to do that, because this is why we're doing it, right? We're doing it for the grant application.
We are, and it looks like a lot of it has to do with participant counts. And unduplicated participant counts, which that's why that's the piece that we don't, well, we do have Susan Gomberg told us earlier that we have 17 total participants for clinic.
So that would be unduplicated.
Unduplicated,
Yeah.
right. And I think we made so that you'll see when you have a chance to look it over more fully, that's what we need. And that's why we need to find out from Marianne. She'll have a better sense. I mean, we can estimate about how many people come to the different fitness classes, sort of an unduplicated number of people. But no one really keeps track of that.
Right.
Except for, I think, Marianne, because, for example, Zumba Gold had a sign-in sheet every week.
Oh, okay.
And
well, but I know the other ones had sign-in sheets, but sometimes nobody signed in and sometimes everybody forgot. So
right.
We don't have an accurate weekly count.
Right. Can you hold on for a minute? Someone is, I just want to see, someone is sending emails, and I wanted to see if they're trying to send it to the Concom, and if it's Avery or so if you hold on just for a second, because my screen keeps flashing an email, and it looks like a phone number, but it's the person is not is not showing up here. Hold on for a second. I just need to see what this is about. It's weird. That's not the case. I don't know what they're trying to do, because I have a sense it might be Avery, but she's not coming in the, I gave her the link. So I don't know what's happening. But anyway, never mind. Never mind.
So this is Janice, just getting back to the whatever it's called, total number of participants versus repeats. We also talked at the last meeting about having, when we resume the community lunches, a sign-in sheet, so we can keep track of that.
And we can ask in future for there to be some kind of count, although I don't know. I know with the spring strength, no, spring yoga, Mary Ann would send out the Zoom meeting to a list of 17 people, but I don't think there has been any counting of how many people actually attended each session.
Yeah.
Man, there are new people each time too, it seems, don't you think? Those other people taking yoga this summer? Seem to be people come and go.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Marianne might very well know the total number of people, unduplicated number of people.
She might, but when
I
I asked
would.
her before, she didn't have an idea. So
She might not be keeping the figures.
yeah.
We have talked in the long past about how to keep track of who comes to community lunch other than a sign-in, although that sign-in is fine. We talked about having a sheet. We would have the regulars there that could be just checked off, and then a space to add and anybody new.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think we'll at this point we can just between Janice and Susan Millinger, you'll be able to just figure, easily figure out the number of people that, who have attended. Do you know what I mean? Discrete people.
This is Billinger. So you're leaving it to Janice and I to figure out how we're going to do it in the future once we read.
No, I'm just talking about reconstructing from July through March.
That's in all the minutes.
But what I meant is for the luncheon, you'll be able to say, okay, Linda, Susan, Millinger, Janice Gray, Ellen McKay, Leslie, Becky. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to say how many discrete individuals attended.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But it's not in every minutes because I went through them all.
No.
Right. No, of course, it's maybe the number of people who attended, but
Yes.
we're talking about discrete.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think together we could figure out who all comes.
Yeah.
And some of the extras.
Yeah.
There are people who come in, I don't know who they are.
That's who, that's what we have to put in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another category beyond volunteer hours. That's the category of how many discrete individuals, and then what is the second, Linda?
It's how many total. So for example, it's how many unduplicated participants and then how many total participants. So like for the luncheon, if there are say 10 over however many months, you'd have, however many, 70, 80, whatever. And then, but then there'd be a smaller number for the unduplicated.
Okay, got it.
We'll get it. We're getting it.
Okay. Second spreadsheet, right? Okay, still a work in progress.
Yep. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, so the next item is current financials. And so that I sent, I'm just trying to get it on my screen. And so you had it, I don't know if you had a chance to look it over.
I did.
So basically at this point in time, and I can tell you that just as a background, Joanne and I were trying to see what our balances were at the end of FY20, so we would know going forward into FY21. Gail Weiss, the accountant, is in the process of finalizing the FY20 numbers. so that's why this is just background, they currently don't show up on the current expense reports. That being said, she gave me, I asked her for what are called condition on accounts for both of our accounts so I could tally up what we spent for FY20. So you can see that there, and we have an ending balance of just under $3,000 going forward. At least we have that much. We don't know what will be coming from the state, but at least we know that's what we have to work with for the present time. We didn't end up using any of our town expense lines, so that money just goes back into the general fund. And then the third category is our COA programs and clinic fund, and that is our what's called our revolving fund. So that's where the money that participants donate to the foot clinic goes in, and then it goes out to pay the invoice. And then whatever balance is left, we use the grant for. And you can, Susan Gomberg, I feel bad that maybe you haven't seen any of this.
No, I saw it on, yeah, I saw it.
Okay, good. So in that account, there is a carryover balance of $946.93, which represents the original $1,000 donation from the Education Foundation that was earmarked for Village Neighbors. So anyway, there it is. That is our current state of affairs. As an additional piece of information, we received a letter from the Mass Council on Aging organization. And you can remember that in the past we were uncertain about, last year we did not pay the dues because we weren't sure what benefit we would be getting from them. And we received a letter and an email stating that MCOA received funding to cover the cost of the dues for all the COAs in Massachusetts.
Nice.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So we can, you know, we can participate and not feel like we haven't made our contribution. And there have been some interesting emails from them, which I'll forward to you, you know, as they come up. In fact, the fall conference, you know, which none of us would ever go to, is now going to be virtual. So there may be workshops that are of interest to us as a small COA. And I'll just also say they did do a survey recently of where COAs were at, which I answered on behalf of our council, because there was a due date and we weren't going to meet. So I just filled out where it was a pre-COVID and a COVID. So it was, what were you doing before and what are you doing now?
May I ask for some clarification on the Educational Foundation money that was designated to go to Village Neighbors?
Yeah. That came in, I'd have to look way back, but it was way back when Village Neighbors was just starting and they had no financial wherewithal. So the money came because that was when, that was way back when there was like a working group for I forget what it was called, Aging in Place Task Force.
Yep.
And so that's how come the money could come to our council, was because the task force was under us. And it started out with members of the council, David Wheeler, David Dan, and then there were other people, Carla Palmer and another person. And then, you know, Sally was involved. So there was this cohort of Shutesbury people that kicked it off. And so it was $1,000, and then some money was used to buy miscellaneous supplies that they needed in the beginning. And the rest has just sat there because there wasn't a real mechanism to give it to them. we at one point thought that they would have to bill us for something, you know, like if they needed something specific, like some software or something. But now, according to the letter, which you all saw, they are saying that, where is it? That Emmett Schmarsow, who was the program manager for COAs at the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, says that local COAs have the authority to provide financial assistance to village neighbors.
And to include amounts in their annual budget requests for that purpose.
Yeah. So, anyway, so now you have the background. Is that helpful? Does anybody have any other questions that I could answer?
Is this separate from the continuing subsequent things they were asking for? This is a one-time pot of money that could go to them?
Yes. Yes. This is in our grant budget. This is money in our revolving fund that's been sitting there, and we've been carrying it over because otherwise, as I said before, our foot clinic donations and our, you know, there's an even in and out, you know, which is what a revolving fund is for, really, to have money go in and then be used to pay for something.
Right.
So can that money be moved to be paid to village neighbors without them invoicing?
I
Sure, it looks like it.
I guess so. According to this letter, whether what Gail Weiss usually will ask for is documentation. So if we decided, then I would, you know, give her a copy of this letter, and when we have the minutes, there'd be our vote. And I think that should be okay. If we, you know, I mean, that money was earmarked for village neighbors to begin with. So I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I don't feel like we could use it for any, you know, in any.
This is Millinger. I'd like to suggest if we're thinking about doing this, that we consider doing it for 2 years. You know, giving them $500 a year rather than the whole shebang once. And I noticed they say Wendell's giving them, looks like $500 a year.
Well,
Well, they gave him 500 once.
So here's the thing. There's two things. One, there is an allocation from our grant to village neighbor. You know, there's two possibilities. I mean, we're in a unique position because we have this money that was earmarked for village neighbors to begin with. So it's really their money. It is their money. At least from the way I think about it. And so there's that, you know, that's not really a gift from us, a donation from us.
Mm-hmm. I just worry that if we give them this, if we give it to them this year, they won't be making that big a distinction, and they might expect the same amount next year. And that's a lot of money.
But we would make the distinction.
Mm-hmm.
We would
I understand that we would be clear about that, but I'm not necessarily sure. I'm concerned they might not be clear.
Well, I guess, go ahead.
We'd have to make it clear.
Uh-huh.
I think if we, you know, if we say, I mean, they've asked for $1,000 from COA. I think if we give them this money and say, this is money that has been all pre-designated for you and is not coming from COA, and because we don't know what the status of our grant is going to be, because we don't know what Massachusetts is doing, we can't make a commitment to pay money to Village Neighbors from COA, but we're going to give you this close to $1,000 now, and then next year we'll revisit once we know what's going on. But make it clear that this is not an annual contribution from COA.
I agree. This is Gomberg. I agree that there should be some distinction about it not being an annual amount.
Yeah. Janice?
Well, I'm pleased that people think it should end up with Village Neighbors, since that's what it was raised for initially. I thought there might be some objections, and it seems we're in agreement on that.
Yeah.
It's a question of how much now, and making it clear that this is now, period.
If we give them the whole amount, then it clears out our account of
That's
carrying
what
money that's not really ours.
Mhm.
It's just a thought on my part with the, we could write a letter stating such to go with the check.
Mhm.
And I guess I would need to, clear it. I would write, or, either write or talk with Gail Weiss about, making sure we're all clear about what we're doing.
This is Janice. So were you saying, Linda, that you're concerned, because this was also my concern, that this would clear out that account, and we don't necessarily want to do that, which might be where Susan Millinger was kind of going, although she had other reasons too.
But we would be taking out of that account money that we're carrying that isn't ours to use.
I understand that, but I thought maybe I misheard you just now, that you were a little concerned that it would clear out the account.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Wants to clear it out.
No. My questions will be making sure with Gail Weiss that we do what we, for her paper trail as the accountant, that we're doing what we need to do for her to have a check written from this account to Village Neighbors.
So Millinger again. So if we go ahead and do this, which is fine with me, I would like us to talk about whether we would anticipate in the future including money for them in our grant application. I think at some point we need to talk about that.
Is that a category in the grant application?
Well, Village Neighbors informs us that it's possible to give it to them. To provide, to include amounts in their annual budget requests for that purpose.
But a budget request is that the same thing as the grant request?
Yeah,
Well,
this form is kind of, it's interesting because this form doesn't really ask how we spent the money. It asks, at least from what I can see, it asks,
Yeah.
on the first page, under 2, municipal appropriation, municipal gift donation account. Yes, that's what we have. And then there's in kind. but it doesn't say, I can't see that it's all about what we provide for services. But it doesn't,
They don't ask us what we're requesting the money for?
no.
My
No,
word.
it didn't ask us how we spent it. Now I can really understand why everything that important that I thought I was giving Becky was not relevant. No, because I was thinking, this is how we spend the money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's not really what
they care about.
they're asking for. So I don't,
Could kind of go, this is Janice, on page 4 of 4, section 9, in kind, it defines in kind as such services are not supervised by the COA. There's no query check, although Village Neighbors is doing query checks on some things anyway, or written job description, and COA typically does not provide orientation, screening, periodic reviews, and or formal recognition of such services. So maybe some of the Village Neighbors stuff would be considered in kind, but it's not municipal.
no.
It's
No, I
money.
think
It's money.
This is about like space,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
see that.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see what else there is under these sections.
Well, we could include it as a notable activity.
Yeah, I
Odd.
don't see,
So they want to know what we're doing and how many people we're serving, but they don't really care how we're spending our money.
no, I always thought, I thought that we had to demonstrate how we were spending the money.
It's
But I
a
don't-
reasonable assumption.
But I don't see any anything on here.
Mm-mm. Well, they can sort of see what we're doing with the money on page 3. Is that page 3? Hang on a second. The various categories: wellness, other, service to non-elders.
Yeah. Oh, brother, I don't know.
Well, another question, when the grant money comes in, do we have to invoice for everything that's spent? Like, I know the MedRide drivers, that's an invoice, and the
Yes.
foot clinic, and so we have to invoice, right?
Yes.
How would we invoice a contribution?
Well, that's why I don't know. I don't know. In this, I guess that I would want, I would feel better if we were talking about utilizing some of our grant funds, you know, to donate to Village Neighbors. I would really want my own, our own verification from the Office of Elder Affairs that this is okay to do. Do you
Good
know what
idea.
I mean?
Yes.
Because, it's one thing that we have this money that belongs to them. How do we get it to them? We're all in agreement, I think, that we haven't made a motion yet, but we need to do that.
So that's a question. Is that a question for Gail Weiss then? Number 1 question: how do we get this money from the revolving fund to Village Neighbors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I can take that on if, once we have me, if we all have we have a vote
Mhm.
on it, then I can ask her and then she'll tell me how to go about it. And then if there's a problem, then I'll come back and tell you about it at our next meeting. If that's okay
Mhm.
for that. And then,
So is everyone agreed on passing this money that was designated for village neighbors to village neighbors at this point?
Mhm.
Okay,
Mrs. Gomberg, I agree.
okay. So we
I
need,
think-
we need a motion.
I move that we send to village neighbors the money that was originally intended for village neighbors by the Shutesbury Education Foundation.
Susan, would you include this is Linda, would you include the amount? It's $946.93.
Okay. I move that, oops, and I move that we send to village neighbors the $946.93, which remains from the donation from the Shutesbury Education Foundation earmarked for village neighbors.
Second, Janice.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Janice, you want to start it off?
Janice, I.
Susan, I. Millinger, I.
Joanne Bernhardt, aye.
Susan Gomberg, aye.
And Linda Ava Scott, aye. Okay, so I will follow up with Gail Weiss on the procedure for doing this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Janice.
So,
I have a thing that is beeping. You might be able to hear it. If you can give me a couple of seconds, I'll run downstairs, get the device, and tell it to be quiet.
Okay.
okay.
While she's gone, Mrs. Gomberg, does having made that motion and it being followed up on, does that take away or stop the question of giving them money at some point like Wendell did? Does that that gets put to one side for the moment?
No, this
Which I
is
think is
Joanne.
a
No,
good idea.
that's my second question now, is approaching whether we want to allocate money to village neighbors, and if so, how much, and how do we do that?
Right, right.
But we need to repeat this when Janice comes back.
Yeah.
There she is. Okay. So Janice, the next question is, do we want to allocate money to village neighbors on an annual basis? How much and how do we do it?
Mrs. Gomberg, does it have to be annual? I remember when I first joined the council, it was in June, and the budget and the grant were under discussion. And I think that year, and I know these are different times, but at that point, I think there was like $4.16 left with all the programs that had been going on. So if we did something, could it just be, does it have to be an annual, always doing type thing for them?
I think, this is Joanne, I think because they did away with their membership fees, I think they want to know that they can count on an annual amount to cover their expenses. So
Yes, yeah.
that's my guess. But
Yeah.
since we don't know what we're getting if the grant level is going to be filled back up to the $5,000 or $6,000 amount that it has been in the past, we don't know that yet.
No,
Right.
no.
So I think a way of dealing with it for this year might be, because we're giving them the $9,900 blah 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 dollars, to say we're giving you this amount that has already been designated for you, which will help you, meet the fiscal 21 activities. And when we find out what our grant amount is going to be, we'll discuss how we can support you.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, Janice agrees.
Mhm.
Yep.
So we
Yep.
don't have to commit to an amount right now.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like we're all
Mhm.
on the same page.
Okay.
So we know, right now we have money that we aren't doing anything with other than supporting the foot clinic. But yeah, it would be good to know what the state
Mhm.
support will be. I agree. Yep.
And it's possible with the mess that the state might be in because of the various COVID problems that the grant could be a lot less.
Yes.
Yes, back in July, I went to an EEO, Executive Office of Elder Affairs webinar. It was just like basically in a way of kind of a support webinar. There are people from MCOA and from one of the area agencies on aging and somewhere else. And the consensus at that point was probably we will be all receiving less money. They didn't
And
know.
this-
They didn't know yet at that point because it was July.
Well, sorry, Millinger. Well, especially because we have money left over from last year's grant, which we can spend.
Yes. 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 So we're in
And
good shape.
probably everybody does.
We're in good shape for that reason, but not knowing if that's all we're going to have or
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or if even in the next cycle, what that will be, assuming that the COVID crisis continues.
right.
Um,
Right. Whether we will even have, what we would use the money on.
mhm.
So do we need a motion on this, or is this just a discussion to be recorded in the minutes?
I think this is just a discussion at
Yeah.
the moment to be carried forward when we have more information.
Yeah.
However, I think that there does have to be a letter to village neighbors explaining first of all, what the $900 amount is, and then further that we don't have any information about funding for this year, so we're going to have to wait and see what the grant brings before we can commit.
Well, I would say for the future, because if we're giving them close to $1,000 for fiscal 21, I don't think we need to worry about giving them again in 51.
Right. But we're not exactly giving them the money. I mean,
It's not,
No,
it's
I
not
understand
coming.
that. I understand that, but
I agree.
Yeah, I see. I understand, and I agree about the letter. So I'll find out from Gail Weiss how to go about doing this. And do we, so that'll take some time, for the check to get issued and all like that. If, depending what she tells me. And so do we want to have one of us volunteer to draft a letter to village neighbors that we could take up at our next meeting? That's a thought. I mean, that's a way we could do it, or we could empower somebody to do it. But I mean, what do you want to do?
Is there a good writer among us?
No.
well, there are a couple of good writers among us, but I think we need to wait to find out what Gail Weiss says
Okay.
before we even draft the letter, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're not in any, we're okay. I'll find out. Bring it back to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If it's all favorable and not going to be a problem, it would be nice to be able to have a letter to review at the next meeting so that if we're all good, we can move it off our plate. So, I could try to draft something and at least we could work on it. We could.
Mhm. Well, it depends on what you find out. And is the history of this amount of money to be found anywhere in minutes or something, or? Because we would have to tell them where it came from and when it,
Yes. All right.
where and when.
All right. I'll do that part. I'll try to look it up and ask and then follow up with Gail.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if that happens in enough time before the next meeting, then we can try and draft something.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody if Joanne and I?
Yeah. I'll work with Linda on this is Joanne. I'll work with Linda on a draft.
Yeah. Is everybody okay with
Yes.
it?
Yes. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
So I'll let you know, Joanne, what I learned.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Phew. All right, so the next item we have on the agenda is webpage editor. And so this was an inquiry from the web committee. Do we have someone who is willing to edit our webpage? And I think that we do.
What? I didn't think that's how it worked. But whatever. This is Janice. I don't think the web committee contacted us. We contacted the web committee.
They sent an email to a bunch of boards. And
But before that, this was just recently.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
So at the last meeting, I said I would find out if they would be comfortable with us, and this is not in the minutes as far as I know, with us editing the web page so we don't have to go through someone at town hall like Susie or whatever. And since then, they did send, actually, I got an email about the newsletter page. Was I comfortable in doing some stuff on that? So the short answer is, in response to my inquiry in July, I heard that I was still technically allowed to edit those pages from when I was on the 250th committee. I thought the software had changed. It has not, or else it changed or whatever, but in any case, they still had me in the system. They reset my password. They said, fine, we understand you're going to honor the format that's been set up on all the other pages, which if you can see it at all, this terrible little screenshot, the names of the chairs are here and so forth and so on. So I went on to see how hard it would be, and I actually already made a change in that under the nutrition program, I said the first delivery will be July 1st. I deleted that. So it was easy to do. Drupal is easy. It's very similar to WordPress as far as I can tell. However, in making this screenshot to send you guys so you don't have to be trying to look at the website and be on a Zoom meeting at the same time, I discovered something that I did not put there, and it's very apropos to our last discussion just now, and that on the Village Neighbors section, which is under Information and Resources at the bottom of the page, we had given their post office number and a phone number. We had removed their website from the website we had before I joined. That was removed because we don't do URLs to non-governmental organizations. Somebody put in their email address. I did not do that. And it now says email pr@villageneighbor.org. Now, that's not a URL. That's a domain name. It's an email. You can't click on that and go to Village Neighbors. But is that a problem?
Well, first of all, it's wrong
Oh, I don't know who put it there. I didn't.
because
No.
it's Village Neighbors, not Village Neighbor.
I wondered why it was singular.
And I looked up Village Neighbors, and there's no indication of a PR at Village Neighbors. There's a general info at Village Neighbors.
Right, that's somebody is using that because we have received emails from that address to the COA Gmail account.
Okay. But there should be an S on it.
Okay, then somebody typed that in, because I have a screenshot from last August when we made all these changes.
Yeah.
And it's not on there. So somewhere between last August and now, it was put in there, and apparently it's incorrect. But should it even be there? Since it tells you basically what the website is.
Yeah, I mean, you know better than the rest of us, Janice.
I don't know that I do.
Well, I know we're only to put governmental organizations, correct?
As websites.
Websites.
But this is an email address. For example, I believe under newsletter editor, we might have Sally, I don't remember, I'd have to go look. We might have Sally's email as the newsletter editor, and she's not a governmental organization or a website.
No.
So it may be that whatever info@villageneighbors.org is okay, but I worry about this policy that we have, we being the town. And I just saw that today and I thought, oh my gosh, how'd that get there? Which is kind of off the subject, but I made a note of it because I wanted to bring it up.
Do you think David Wheeler could have put it in there?
He didn't touch the website. He didn't know how. We were both going to take lessons.
I wonder if Susie might have done it at some point, just trying to get some information on the webpage for people who
We're calling her.
needed services during COVID.
And I wondered if it might have been when Grace was her assistant, and I think was doing some web work, and someone might have called saying, I don't have an email address for this. And so she might have put it in not knowing about this policy.
Right.
But that still doesn't say, what do we do with it? Do we let it stand and fix it, or do we take it off?
I just wonder, is there a difference between including a phone number or an email address?
The phone number is fine, and we have a post office box address. It's the link, and the reason for the link matter. Because historically, because I was at a meeting ages ago, decades ago, where this came up at the web committee, that there was concern that links to non-governmental organizations might change. And so someone might click on a link to some library program link that Marianne had. This is why the library doesn't have its own Shutesbury.org website. It's on a different platform. Anyway, there was concern that someone might click on something that originally was a very innocent URL, and it'll take you to a porn site from our web page. And that's why they said, no, we don't do this.
Okay, got it.
But this is an email address.
Well, Janice, since you've been in touch with the web committee recently, right?
Yeah.
Can you ask that question of them?
I could ask them because this, as I said, I didn't know about this till this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So anyway, I have access to the page. I can edit the page. And the question is, and we don't need to do this now because it's,
And
yeah, is that I thought if you looked at the page, if we were going to edit, this came up at the last meeting, that there might be sections, since we do not have a newsletter, that we could have a box where, for example, the thing that I can't remember who, I've got a little folder started of emails you forwarded to us, Linda, of like, beware of people scamming you by calling to say that, you've been identified as having contact with a COVID person and we need your credit card, blah, 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 blah. This kind of thing, which would go in a newsletter like the Gazette. We're not doing that. And do we want to have some place on our website where this information from a governmental agency
Yeah.
can go.
Yeah.
And the question is, I don't know where on this page it would go. Something might have to move, or we might have to have a second web page, spill over, which I guess we could do, or shorten something else. So that's something to think about for the future, possibly.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds, I mean, I don't know how, we don't, I guess we really don't know how many people actually would be looking at our webpage. But to make it more vibrant, to have a little bit more information, like from the district attorney's office about,
Mhm.
you know, whatever they're, you know, because they do send things around every once in a while, or senior Medicare patrol program. That's a governmental organization. So, right,
So,
whether we have a list of resources, something, yeah.
because what we had said at the last meeting was that if there was something like that on our website, we could send out a town announce about it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So once we get it spiffed up, we can,
Figure out where it will fit.
okay.
I don't know if there's space under, I'll have to look at the other pages. Our names are here, and unfortunately they insist on putting them in alphabetical order. It's not, so the two chairs are not next to each other. But there's a space down here that something might be able to go, or maybe the newsletters could go like this. I don't know, but I'll think about it. But you guys can think about it too.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So this is Linda. The one last item is, although as administrative secretary, I haven't sent the letter out, it is time to think about our FY20 annual report. So, thoughts, anybody?
Dennis sure did a great job with the last one. This is Millinger.
Thank you.
There's no urgency, just was just time to start to think about it, getting it going.
I'm willing to do it again. This is Janet.
Are you, Janice?
Thank you. That you did such a good job on the last one. And then since we won't have as much to report,
Yes.
it may not be as difficult backtracking among all the minutes.
Well, it is actually through June 30th of this year. Yes, right. So we won't have as much. You're right.
We'll have a quarter, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gone. Or
Thank you, Janice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, once we get all the statistics ironed out, that might be helpful too, because then you can just look at
yes.
a page or two.
Yeah.
No reading glasses. Okay, never mind.
So according to the calendar, our next meeting would be September 9th.
Yeah.
Are we good?
I think we are. Was there something about a dementia workshop? Was that
Oh, right.
Oh,
Susan.
yeah.
Susan Millinger?
Yeah, because I would make a very brief report because there's another one coming up in September that I see that we've been invited to. Yes.
Yeah.
I went to the previous one and I found it very helpful. A lot of it is going over the written material that you get given ahead of time. But Nancy really knows her stuff, and she added some important information to what was in the written material. So yeah, I thought it was worthwhile.
Okay. And
That's some good ideas.
And that's being advertised for September?
Yes, we got a notice in something that I just saw on our in our email.
Was that through Village Neighbors?
Was it the Village Neighbors letter? No, I don't. It was something else.
I think I forwarded it to you.
Okay.
I think. Because I check our email every Thursday and I try to forward
Right.
things.
Mhm.
Also, just on that kind of a note, this is Linda. I wondered if you all receive the Life Path electronic newsletter, because it is really, it's, not long, and it has a lot of good information in it. It comes
Yep.
out once a week, and there's usually 1 or 2 articles, just important, timely material to all of us who are in the cohort.
I think it comes out on Monday, isn't it? In Monday Morning Mail, and I
is.
read it, and it seems to be there always something useful there. I
Yes,
agree.
I
Can we-
agree.
Can we sign up individually for that? Go on the LifePath website and sign up for it?
Yes.
Okay.
That could be in the, on the website, the link to the newsletter itself.
Yeah,
Good idea.
would be helpful.
Because we talk about who they are, but I don't think we talk about the website.
Did you have something, Susan Gomberg?
Where is it?
No, nothing from me.
Okay. Shall we adjourn? We good?
Adjourn, Janice.
Okay, a second at 6:58 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay, we need a roll call vote.
Janice, I.
Susan Millinger, aye.
Joanne Bernhardt, aye.
Susan Gomberg, aye.
And then Davis got aye.
That's my last name next time.
I'm sure glad, Susan Gomberg, that you got on your landline, because it's
Yeah.
really nice to hear your voice.
Yes, Janice agrees.
Yep, it is.
Well, now I know how to get to the meeting appropriately. Thank you all. Talk to you in a month. Take care.
Okay.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for doing
Yep.
the clinic.
Yep, I'll call folks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Susan.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.